The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. All right, already. Good morning, college baseball fans. It is your host, Noah Bieniek, aka 77NB. That's my Twitter handle. If you'd like to follow me there, I'm coming at you live from on YouTube Live currently, 5:04 a.m. in the morning. But for me, I still haven't gone to bed yet. I've been up all night handicapping these college baseball games because they dropped around 11 at night. Handicapped them, going live now. What we're going to do is, when I started, they had only had the like 5 biggest conferences out. What I'm going to do is, for each show, we're going to do daily postseason shows. Every conference tournament day, every NCAA tournament day, there's going to be a daily pick show. For the conference tournaments, I am going to do, for the first 2 or 3 days while everybody is playing, they really have only put out odds for some of the bigger conferences. So we're going to stick to the SEC, the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, the Conference USA, and the Sun Belt. Those 6 conferences have odds currently, and DraftKings is the one that originates it. So they're the first that usually posts every night prior to the day of games. So that's really nice of DraftKings to be able to do, so I can handicap them throughout the night and get this out for you guys early. That way you have this for a morning drive to work. That's the goal of this podcast, because some of these games are starting at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., wherever you may live. But so we're going to do that. I mean, it's just some of the bigger conferences that the games are being offered. But, however, we just launched our brand new college baseball picks page. What is the college baseball picks page? Well, for free at the sportsgamblingpodcast.com, you can go to the college baseball tab and click on picks. From there, there's a widget that will list all of my picks for free, and you'll see which games I've picked. And then there's a lock icon next to the ones that I personally have my money on. So if you're ever in a pinch and you can't listen to the whole podcast, which I recommend you do, to listen to some of these pitching matchups, because they're very hard to find. And that's what takes me the longest time handicapping these games. But if you're ever in a pinch, if a game starts at 10 a.m. and you're listening to this at 9:40 a.m., go ahead and just check out that picks page, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, and I think it's /college-baseball-picks. Before we jump into today's games that we'll talk about on this podcast, let me tell you once again about Edge Boost. Have you signed up for them yet? If not, you're missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly long statements. That's right, 0% interest. Simply deposit your funds into your account at Edge Boost. They will match your deposit, so you can use double the funds on any legal sports betting site. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances, so that's up to $2,500 that you can add to your bankroll. Edge Boost Double Down Play of the Day will be put at the end of the podcast, so go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 years or older to use this. Only valid in legal gambling sites, and problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now let's jump into some of these games that we have odds for here. We're going to start off at 10:30 a.m. in the SEC, where Georgia is plus 135 on the money line. They're playing South Carolina, who's minus 165. Now, precursor for this whole show, we have about, I don't know, 75% of these games actually have confirmed matchups, which is super nice. It's actually not normally like this for the tournaments because a lot of these pitching matchups are up in limbo. You really have to kind of just predict who each team's going to start because they pitch their guys kind of on the fly. There's no planning with the any of these conference tournaments. It is all hands on deck every game for some of these teams. So I will make it very clear when we have a confirmed pitching matchup. I'll say that right off the bat, or if I'm projecting the pitchers for the games. However, when the starting pitchers aren't known and the opening price is out there, oftentimes we are able to jump on a game that's mispriced, and then we'll end up when we put our money on the game. It's always a nice feeling when that number slightly moves into your favor, and you'd be like, yeah, I kind of did the hard work. I did the research. I listened to the college baseball experience, and Noah said that this guy, he might start. He actually is starting, and he's better than the other guy. But yes, Georgia, South Carolina. Georgia's plus 135 on the money line. South Carolina minus 165. This is a confirmed matchup as the Bulldogs are starting Jaden Woods. He's a sophomore lefty who's 3-2 on the year with a 5.59 ERA, 61 strikeouts, 25 walks in 46.2 innings pitched. For the Gamecocks, it's James Hicks, who's 6-1 with a 4.09 ERA, 42 strikeouts, 12 walks in 50.2 innings pitched. I like South Carolina here quite a bit because Woods is making his first appearance back from injury for Georgia, so I don't know how he'll look. He last pitched on April 14th. Before his injury, Woods had a 7.37 ERA in 5 SEC starts. South Carolina's lineup is as healthy as it's been in weeks, and I think that's a good pick. And also a very nice parlay piece as South Carolina is just looking to build momentum before entering the NCAA tournament. And the Cox are actually my SEC tournament champion prediction. Going on to our next matchup here. It is at 11 a.m. between Michigan plus 145 on the money line and Iowa minus 180. Now, I am a Michigan fan. I have no clue who Michigan's going to pitch here because they lost Chase Allen due to injury earlier on, and he hasn't pitched in a while. My projection is that their ace, Connor O'Halloran, will rest one more day, and they're going to elect to start Kurt Barr. Barr has started 6 games this year so far. He has a 1-1 record with a 4.37 ERA, 17 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 22.2 innings pitched. It's a bad situation for my Wolverines. I think that Cade Obermueller will start for Iowa. It would just be his 3rd start of the year, but Keaton Anthony hasn't played since the gambling news came out about Iowa and their whole athletic department. And Anthony was Iowa's typical midweek starter. So Obermueller, he's 2-0 on the year with a 3.60 ERA, 34 strikeouts, 16 walks, and just 20 innings pitched. For me, double check prior to the game's start who's pitching in this game, obviously. But if Michigan does throw their ace O'Halloran, he's a dog. I would back them at a plus price. But after O'Halloran, this pitching staff is a train wreck. Just imagine LSU's pitching staff in the Big Ten. That's basically what this is. Iowa would be a nice parlay piece without O'Halloran on the mound for Michigan. The next game on our slate is at 11 a.m. as well. It's Virginia Tech, minus 135 on the money line, and Boston College, plus 105. We have a confirmed pitching matchup here. Virginia Tech is starting Jonah Harney, who's 3-2 on the year with a 7.53 ERA, 29 strikeouts, 18 walks, and 28.2 innings pitched. Boston College will start Eric Schroeder, who threw 67 pitches in relief on Thursday. Schroeder is 3-3 with a 5.63 ERA, 15 strikeouts, 9 walks in 32 innings pitched. Schroeder pitches to a lot of contact, which if you read my conference tournament futures article or you listen to the conference tournament preview podcast where I gave up picks for every conference that offers futures odds from the books. You can find those on Bet Rivers, Barstool, and Caesars currently. Prior to the first game of each conference tournament. Shout out to those that listened to that, by the way, because I'm doing a doubleheader here with I did conference tournaments about 6 hours ago. Now I'm recording this picks podcast for Tuesday. Shout out to the real ones that listen to both. But Virginia Tech, I'm betting on offense in the ACC tournament, which is not how I usually bet on baseball games, but it's very much this park is very hitter friendly, and overs were hitting like crazy in the ACC tournament last year. Virginia Tech is my long shot pick to win this conference tournament. Virginia Tech owns the highest slugging percentage in the conference at 542. They have the third most home runs with 97 and the fourth highest scoring offense with a 952 team OPS. Boston College is 12th, 10th, and 12th in those categories, respectively. I like the Hokies to win, but I'm not betting them here because I already have some skin in the game. So if you don't, Virginia Tech's not a bad look. I know they have a rough starting pitcher, but their offense is going to be able to make up for it. I think that it's going to be blitzkrieg throughout the entire ACC tournament. The next game on our slate is at 1 p.m. in the Pac-12. So it's 12, 11. It's 10 a.m. West Coast time in Scottsdale, Arizona, where they'll be playing this in-state rivalry. It's Arizona minus 125 on the money line against Arizona State minus 105. We have confirmed pitchers for this matchup too. Starting for Arizona is Aiden May. He is 4-2 with a 7.12 ERA, 62 strikeouts, 26 walks, and 60.2 innings pitched in 13 starts. Chip Hill was kind of smart in holding May out of the weekend rotation over the weekend, and he saved one of his top three starters for a game that they very much need to win in the Pac-12 tournament. Josh Hanzel will start for Arizona State here, and the junior's making his fourth start of the season for the Sun Devils. He's 2-0 with a 6.52 ERA, 27 strikeouts, 12 walks in 29 innings pitched. Hanzel's last start came against Cal State Fullerton, where he gave up 7 runs in 2.1 innings. May is also carrying a 7.12 ERA, so I would love an over here if we get one. Scottsdale Stadium was a launch pad for the Pac-12 tournament last year, as 14 or more runs were scored in 9 of the 14 games. And if you remember, the Oregon State UCLA game that ended 25-22, oh, it's just amazing. Overs here in the Pac-12 tournament. As for the game, I'll take Arizona State or Arizona. My bad. I'll take the Wildcats here as my pick on the money line. The fifth game that we'll talk about, I think it's the fifth game here. I have handicaps for 14 games that that DraftKings was offering at the time that they opened all the lines. And Big 12 games start on Wednesday. At 2:00 p.m., Texas A&M is plus 135 on the money line. They're taking on Tennessee, who's minus 165, and we have confirmed pitchers for this game too. Oh man, it's a great sight to see. Starting for the Aggies will be Troy Wansing, who's 2-3. It might be Troy Wansing. I don't know. Troy Wansing, who's 2-3 with a 5.98 ERA, 60 strikeouts, 29 walks in 40.2 innings pitched. Tennessee will start Seth Halverson. He has a 2-2 record with a 3.96 ERA, 38 strikeouts, 10 walks in 38.2 innings pitched. For me, I don't think either of these guys will pitch too deep into this game, especially Halverson, who is making his first start of the season. I trust Tennessee's bullpen much more than Texas A&M's, and the Vols offense has been coming along lately, whereas the Aggies, they're the fifth worst scoring offense in the SEC with the second worst batting average. So I like Tennessee here. Lane Elliott, what's up, my man? 517, first one in here. He's crazy like I am. Jumping into the college baseball live stream for picks on Tuesday. Games start in about 6 hours, so we're grinding away here. Yeah, and before we jump into our next game, let me tell you about Shady Rays because SGPN is teaming up with them for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off, but you also get a chance to win $500. Shady Rays has you covered from the sun to the slopes with polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shady Rays has durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. If you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. And for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well, with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. So go to shadyrays.com and use promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. And remember, May is almost over, so take your receipt to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win the $500 Shady May contest. The next game on our slate is at 3 p.m. in Omaha. It's the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Illinois plus 125 on the money line is taking on Indiana minus 155. We also have confirmed pitchers for this game. I promise you it is not like this, especially last year here in the postseason. And it's where we made a ton of money. Sorry, I'm saying a lot, but the Illini will start Jack Wenninger, who's 7-3 on the year with a 4.88 ERA, 75 strikeouts, 28 walks in 83 innings pitched. Kudos to head coach Dan Hartleb, who shifted Wenninger to a midweek role 1 week prior to the Big Ten tournament for this exact game. Wenninger will start against Indiana's Ben Seiler. Seiler's making his 7th start of the year. He has a 1-3 record, 5.45 ERA, 33 strikes, 6.1 innings pitched this year. As much as I want to side with Coach Hartleb's big brain move to work, like as much as I want that to work, I don't think it will, because Illinois' offense just, I don't know if it's going to keep up with Indiana's. The Hoosiers have the second highest scoring offense in the Big Ten, and Illinois is just 10th. So I still think the pick is Indiana here, but at minus 155, I'm not going to put anything on that there. At 3 o'clock as well in the ACC tournament, we have Georgia Tech minus 110 on the money line against North Carolina minus 120. Let me start off by saying this. We have confirmed pitchers, and when I saw one of these guys' names, I verbally said, whoa. And let's get into this, because Georgia Tech is starting Ben King, who's been their best reliever all year with a 6-1 record in 24 appearances. This will be his 3rd start this season, and he has a 3.21 ERA, 53 strikeouts, 14 walks in 47.2 innings pitched. But he's not the guy that made me say, whoa. It's Max Carlson, the Tar Heels ace, and he was the Tar Heels ace when he entered the season, and he's going to start here on Tuesday. He started last Thursday's game. The box score doesn't have a pitch count here, but he faced 21 Clemson hitters in 3.2 innings pitched. He gave up 6 runs. So I'm expecting he threw about like 80 to 90 pitches here, and he's coming in on 4 days rest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days rest here. I don't expect him to throw any better against the ACC's 3rd highest scoring offense compared to how he did against the 8th highest scoring offense in Clemson just last week. Durham's ballpark is going to be a launch pad, and Carlson is on short rest. I really, really like the Yellow Jackets here. Give me them at minus 110. Yeah, I mean, the Georgia Tech's offense is just crazy good, and I think they're going to really, really eat Carlson alive here. That's a tough ask for Max Carlson of North Carolina to make this start against one of the best offenses in the conference on 4 days rest. At 4 o'clock p.m., we have in the Sun Belt a winner-go-home game here in the play-in. It's Old Dominion, minus 145. They are the 10 seed. They're playing the 7 seed, James Madison, who's plus 115. I sprinkled a little bit on the Monarchs to win the Sun Belt tournament, but overall they've just been a big letdown in the Sun Belt this year, and they just lost 2 out of 3 to the Dukes 2 weeks ago. It's tough to project here what each team will do with their starting pitchers, but in a winner go home playing game, I think ODU should probably start their ace on short rest. That would be Sam Armstrong. He is one of the conference's best starting pitchers in the Sun Belt with a 9-3 record, a 3.47 ERA, 68 strikeouts, 27 walks in 72.2 innings pitched. Armstrong allowed 5 earned in 5 innings in his first start against JMU. I know I'm contradicting myself about fading Max Carlson earlier, but Armstrong's just he's been pitching much better than Carlson so far this year. So I feel better about Armstrong starting on short rest than Carlson. But again, I'm projecting it. So before you bet it, before game time, check around like 3 hours. Maybe go to Twitter, see if you can just search up the team name or any of their pitchers' names on Twitter. See if a beat writer tweeted out what the starting matchup is going to be of the day. That's my best tip there. If I was the Dukes, I wouldn't feel as pressed to start my ace on 4 days short rest. And if I was the coach, I wouldn't. I think they're going to give Ryan Ertelschwager his 6th start this season. He pitched 1 inning in relief over the weekend, so he would be ready to go. Ertelschwager is 2-2 with a 4.82 ERA, 26 strikeouts, 21 walks, and 28 innings pitched. Like I mentioned, check the pitching matchup, but I kind of like ODU to pull off the upset. Notice how I said upset, but not minus 145 favorite. I think this one should be more close to like a heads up price here at minus 110 each, minus 115 each, or a minus 120, minus 110, something like that. I think Old Dominion is just a little bit too expensive here. And James Madison at plus 115 is not bad for a team that took 2 of 3 against the Monarchs just 2 weeks ago. At 5:30 in the Pac-12 tournament, UCLA is minus 120 on the money line against USC minus 110. We have confirmed pitchers in this matchup. The Bruins are going to start their ace, Jake Brooks. They gave him the weekend off to make this start, and Brooks is 6-5 with a 5.45 ERA, 72 strikeouts, 18 walks in 69.1 innings pitched. USC will start redshirt freshman Eric Hammond for the 14th time this season. He's 3-4 on the year with a 4.78 ERA, 40 strikeouts, 28 walks in 49 innings pitched. This is a tough handicap for me. It's UCLA's ace against USC's SP4. Brooks threw 5 innings, gave up 3 runs and 2 earned in his first start against USC earlier this year. And Hammond started against UCLA in a 3-team pre-conference play tournament at UCLA. Hammond threw 3 innings, gave up 3 runs in those 3 innings. I lean USC here only because the Bruins, they have the worst scoring offense in the Pac-12. So I think the Trojans bats will fare a little bit better in this matchup, but it's the Pac-12 tournament. Make sure you take your overs or look at some of those totals. Just crazy scoring outputs last year's tournament. At 7 o'clock in Omaha, we head back to Omaha for the Big Ten tournament. It's Michigan State plus 125 on the plus 135 on the money line against Maryland minus 165. We have confirmed pitchers for this matchup as well, as Nick Powers will start for Michigan State. He's making his 11th start of the year with a 4.28 ERA, 5-2 record, 35 strikeouts, 19 walks in 54.2 innings pitched. Powers been really good lately with a 3.31 ERA over his last 6 appearances. Starting his 12th game of the year for the Terps is Kyle McCoy. He is 4-6 on the year with a 5.81 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 23 walks in 52.2 innings pitched. Maryland's the highest scoring offense in the Big Ten, whereas Sparty, they're 6th. I think the Terps are vulnerable in Omaha, and why not in Game 1 here to Michigan State? The Terrapins, they have the best team batting average in the Big Ten at 317, but right behind them is MSU with a 303 team batting average, and they have a better starting pitcher on the mound with more pitching depth They have a staff ERA of 5.50. That's fifth in the Big Ten. Maryland is 11th with a 6.01. So Powers is rolling right now. I think the Sparty Bats have a chance at plus 135. It's not a bad play here. Also at 7 o'clock here, going back to the ACC tournament in Durham, NC State minus 115 against Duke minus 115. Both of these teams can sleep in their own beds. They don't even have to get a hotel in Durham, North Carolina. There's no confirmed pitchers for this matchup, so I'm left to project it. For NC State, I think that Baker Nelson could get his sixth start of the year. He's 5-2 with a 6.26 ERA, 45 strikeouts, 15 walks in 46 innings pitched. Nelson threw 50 pitches in relief on Thursday, so he would be good to go here. And for Duke, I think they could start Alex Gao. I mean, he's been kind of their go-to guy in game ones of the weekend series so far this year. Duke's kind of a weird team. They have tremendous depth, but they don't really let any of their starters go too deep into the games. At max, they see the lineup two times through, and they switch him out. So Gao only threw, like I mentioned, he only threw 66 pitches in his start on Thursday. So I think he could be good to go here on Tuesday. The grad senior is 3-3 on the year with a 4.86 ERA and 13 starts with 53 strikeouts, 24 walks in 50 innings pitched. I like Duke to win this game a lot. One of my favorite bets of the day because the pitching staff is just so deep. Duke minus 115 on the money line for me. Their offense is going to be able to keep scoring runs. They'll be able to keep pace with NC State, especially if the pitching staff is able to keep the Wolfpack at bay here. So Duke minus 115 for me is one of my favorite plays of the day. At 7:30 in the Sun Belt, we have another win or go home play-in game for that tournament. It's Georgia Southern minus 135 on the money line but they're playing Georgia State, who's plus 105. Now, according to Georgia Southern's game write-up, the pitchers are to be determined in this game. The Eagles' ace Ty Fisher threw 107 pitches on Friday. He should not start this game on 3 days rest. In that Fisher start, Mitchell Gross threw 30 pitches in relief. He has 5 starts this season. I think that Gross could start here. He's 3-3 with a 4.25 ERA, 51 strikeouts, 17 walks in 55 innings pitched. Ryan Watson, Georgia State's ace, threw 85 pitches on Thursday. Starting him on Tuesday would be a little bit of a stretch, but after sweeping the Eagles 2 weeks ago, I don't think the Panthers will really feel the need to start Watson. I don't think they're going to feel too pressed. I project Georgia State could start Brandon Joseph for the 11th time this season. He threw 38 pitches in relief on Friday, so I think he's going to be good to go here on Tuesday for a start. Joseph is 4-4 on the year with a 5.44 ERA, 65 strikeouts, 32 walks in 51.1 innings pitched. I feel pretty dang good about these pitching projections. Therefore, I love Georgia State at plus 105. And I think that if these do get confirmed, Georgia State's definitely not going to be at plus money when the pitching matchup does come out. The Panthers have the Sun Belt's second highest scoring offense. And like I mentioned earlier, they swept the Eagles this year. So give me Georgia State plus 105. I think we should get some really good closing line value there. 2 more games on our slate for Tuesday. It's going to be one of our shorter podcasts because, like I mentioned, Big 12 tournament will start on Wednesday. At 9 o'clock, Missouri is plus 135 on the money line. They're taking on Auburn minus 165. And for starters, before I touch on this game, Missouri Baseball's website crashed. Like if you look up Missouri Baseball online and you go to you try to visit their website, it just says that it's just offline, which is hilarious. But I was able to get confirmed pitchers on Auburn's game right up here. Sorry. Mizzou will start junior lefty Javen Pimentel. Javen Pimentel. it looks like. Excuse me if I'm not pronouncing that right, but he'll get his 8th start of the season. Pimentel is 1-1 with a 6.26 ERA, 22 strikeouts, 11 walks in 23 innings pitched. Auburn, however, is starting their best starter, Tommy Vale. He only threw 34 pitches over the weekend against Missouri. These two teams are playing four games straight. They finished the season against each other in a weekend series. Vale did not start a game. He came in relief in the 3rd game. He threw 34 pitches. He's starting this first game of the SEC tournament. On the season, the grad senior lefty is 5-1 with a 3.38 ERA in 12 starts, 72 strikeouts, 36 walks in 61.1 innings pitched. You have to love Auburn here with their ace on the mound against Missouri. This thing's mispriced at -165 against Missouri's 5th best starter. I love Tommy Vale in Auburn here at this price. -165 should be around -200 or larger. Seriously. Our last game on this, sorry, it is 5:30 a.m. And I'm still acclimating myself to staying up late to handicap these games again. Believe me, I enjoy it. I really do. Had great success last year doing this, so I couldn't be happier running it back again. Last game on the slate, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. West Coast, California, +135 on the money line, +130 on the money line against Oregon, -160. The Ducks have a TBA starter, but Christian Becerra will start for Cal. The sophomore threw 46 pitches on Thursday, and he will be rested and ready to go here. And he was pitched he has pitched like Cal's 2nd best starter this season, but that's not saying much because Becerra is 2-5 on the year with a 6.24 ERA in 10 starts with 53 strikeouts, 18 walks in 53.1 innings pitched. Unless Oregon pulls Jace Stoffel off the shelf, he's injured right now. So, to my knowledge, he's not going to come back. If he does, I really like Oregon in this spot, but I think the Ducks are fucked. They have 2 freshman starters who have started 10 games each this season in Leo Ullman and Jackson Pace. Ullman is 3-4 with a 7.43 ERA. And Pace is 2-3 with an 8.44. I have a hunch that Ullman could get the start here because he threw 2.1 innings of shutout ball against Cal earlier on in the season. And the only thing about this game in my handicap came down to this. Cal has the 2nd worst scoring offense in the Pac-12. So I think they may continue to make Ullman look like a superstar. So stay away from the money line in this game and look for another Pac-12 over here. And that's going to conclude. That was 14 games of some of the better conference tournament games that were offered. We had 14 games offered by DraftKings at around like 11 p.m. when I started working on handicapping these games. Like I mentioned, there will be more games uploaded in the morning. Obviously, I'm not waking up anytime soon. This happened the same thing last year. I program tweets that will send out in the afternoon just of picks for the games, just for followers to be able to know like what I'm picking prior to the game starting. However, I won't probably respond to any tweets or DMs until maybe 2 in the afternoon. So if you are curious about any of the games that I have or that are playing, if I have picked it, it will be on the picks page that I was talking about earlier. College baseball picks page on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. It should be sportsgamblingpodcast.com/collegebaseballpicks. Sorry, I keep coughing, but I want to run through some of the better parlay pieces, I think, for this Tuesday slate, and then my betting card as it stands right now before I even look at some of the other games that come out whenever they come out, whenever I wake up. But so starting off with parlay pieces, I -180 on Iowa is not bad. You have to check the pitching matchup for this game, because if Michigan does throw their ace Connor O'Halloran, it would be crazy. One, because he threw 107 pitches on Thursday, but I think they're desperate enough to it's not too far out of the realm of possibility for my Wolverines. But if he's not on the mound, this pitching staff is horrendous. So Iowa at minus 180 is not a bad piece, but it's not in my parlay for this podcast. Again, I'll include a daily parlay for every podcast throughout the postseason. Plus 157, you can get this. Right now, it's South Carolina and Auburn. Both of them are priced at minus 165. I like Auburn just a bit more, but South Carolina minus 165 is also a pretty good pitching mismatch. So I like them over Georgia. Now into my singles that I'm playing on Tuesday. 1.1 units on Georgia Tech minus 110 to win 1 unit. I'm fading Max Carlson on short rest. He hasn't been that great this year. 1 and 2, he's pitching on 4 days rest, which is typical MLB starter rest, but not in college baseball. It's not going to fly. I like the Yellow Jackets there. And then I'm going on 1.2 units to win 1 unit and some change on Duke at minus 115. Based on my projected starters, based on the starting pitcher matchup that I'm projecting, it's a total mismatch. And Duke's pitching staff is also just really deep, and I don't think they really have a bad option that they could start here against NC State. And NC State's pitcher ERA is in the mid sixes. What's that kid's name again that I grabbed? It is Baker Nelson with a 6.26 ERA. So I like Duke at minus 115 right now. Then my third play, 1 unit to win, basically 1 unit on Georgia State plus 105. They swept Georgia Southern earlier on in this season, and I think that if we're not going to see Ty Fisher, he threw like over 100 pitches on Thursday. There's a pretty good chance that he's not going to throw here on Tuesday. I like Georgia State's pitching staff and offense much better than Georgia Southern's so far this year. So I like that as my third play on the day. And my last one, my favorite one, is just mispriced. So I'm going 1.7 to win 1 unit and some change on Auburn, minus 165. I love this play a lot with Tommy Vale on the mound against Javen Pimentel. Vale has literally performed like Auburn's ace so far this season. So give me the Tigers. They're both named the Tigers. Nice one, Noah. Give me Wardam Eagle minus 165 on the money line there. So like I mentioned, check out the picks page, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/collegebaseballpicks, I believe. Also check out the college football experience, the college basketball experience, the MLB gambling podcast, the NBA gambling podcast if you're in the postseason basketball, NHL gambling podcast for the NHL playoff watchers. The Sports Gambling Podcast, the mothership of all of SGPN. They go live every night, Sunday through Thursday. NASCAR Gambling Podcast, F1 Gambling Podcast. SGPN has it all. We have a bunch of very dedicated and creative content creators gambling on plenty of different things, even fantasy football going on 24/7 right now. And I know they're doing some cardio challenges that I thoroughly enjoy. So check them all out. Check me out on Twitter at 77NB. And thank you for listening to this podcast. Go check out the last podcast that we did. Go check out the article that I wrote on conference tournament futures for the 4 major conferences. And with that, I bid you adieu. Thanks for joining me this morning. You've been experiencing the better side of college baseball with the College Baseball Experience. Adios, amigos.